California's policymakers are literally burning it to the ground. First off, I just want to say, man, hopes, best wishes, prayers, thoughts, everything with all of you all that are suffering through this in California. It shouldn't even be happening. This is like completely preventable. I know they try to say climate change, but this is not a climate change problem. This is a lack of management problem that's going on in California. And we're going to get into that in this video. Got a couple clips that I'm going to pull up just to show. Like, this was called out months ago. This was called out months ago by Trump, man. Talking about California's drought problem and the lack of water and poor management overall. I mean, you have other places in the world that have way more flammable trees than California, yet they don't suffer the same type of wildfires, and they have higher temperatures and drier seasons than California. So how come they don't have wildfires the same way that California does? It's ridiculous. We're going to get into it. So let's check this out. Oh, by the way, if you guys could, please like this video, share this video out. I would greatly appreciate it. Without further ado, let's hear it.
Given your criticism of Governor Gavin Newsom, are you willing to work with him, and do you believe that federal aid should be provided to California for as long as it takes?
Well, it's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that. There's no reason. Can you imagine? You have farmers that don't have any water in California. They have plenty of water. They don't have a drought. They send it out to the Pacific, and it's crazy. So what's happening in California is a true tragedy. I know those areas very well. I have many friends living in those houses. That is a true tragedy. Nobody ever thought. I mean, virtually Beverly Hills and areas around Beverly Hills are being decimated. The biggest homes, some of the most valuable homes in the world are just destroyed. I don't even know. You know, you talk about a tax base. If those people leave, you're going to lose half your tax base of California. This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water. They didn't have water in the fire hydrants. They don't have water. And yet they have, the water comes from, you know where? Up north. And it comes down at levels, they give millions and millions of barrels of gallons of water that they have, and they send it out into the Pacific. For the Pacific, it's like a drop, it's nothing. But for California, it would take care of the whole state. So what's happened is a tragedy, and the governor has not done a good job. With that being said, I got along well with him when he was governor. We worked together very well, and we would work together. I guess it looks like we're going to be the one having to rebuild it. But what happened there, I don't think there's anything that I've ever seen quite like it. And the insurance companies are going to have a big problem because you're talking about big, big dollars.
So let me get this straight. And first off, I got to say, it's not okay, man, that them people, even though we know California has got a lot of, you know, people that have some different ideas, right? But they still Americans. And we don't play them games like how it was played with what happened with the hurricanes. Now, we wishing the best for y'all. We praying for y'all. We want to see y'all make a full recovery, be compensated for your house and all of that good stuff, man. Hope to God nobody, you know, suffers injuries. I know it's been a couple reported that, you know, it's bad. It's bad. So we praying for y'all. But I find it strange, man, that the policymakers over there in California value a fish, a little fish, more than they value their own residents and citizens. Nobody else think that's crazy? I mean, they talk about saving the environment. They would literally watch everything burn down around you to say that they want to save the environment, but really what it comes down to is not about trying to save no fish, man. It's deeper than that. These people getting paid. They getting paid on the back end some way, somehow. You could guarantee it. Anytime these people make deals like that for a fish, you deny your people water for a fish? Really? It don't make sense. It don't make no kind of sense at all. And they make these policies, these laws, restricting access to water because they say they want to save the environment while they watch the environment burn around them, which directly affects the people that live there. Make it make sense, y'all. And I don't think you could. So let's keep on going. I got another clip. This is a flashback. It says, Trump said the fires in California are due to mismanagement of the forest, nothing to do with climate change. And he was right. He definitely was right. So let's pull it up.
And you've seen what happened. You've talked about the forest fires. Now we're permitting and cleaning up these forests so it will reduce the threat of forest fire as well as creating jobs in these communities.
We have to do that in California, by the way.
Yes, sir.
California's a mess. We're giving billions and billions of dollars for forest fires in California. There's no reason for those fires to be like they are. They're leaving them dirty. It's a disgraceful thing. Old trees are sitting there rotting and dry. And instead of cleaning it up, they don't touch them. They leave them. And we end up with these massive fires that we're paying hundreds of billions of dollars for to fix. And the destruction is incredible. So I think California ought to get their act together and clean up their forests and manage their forests because it's disgraceful. What's happening should never happen. I go all over the country and I meet with governors. The first thing they say is there's no reason for forest fires like that in California. So I say to the governor or whoever's going to be the governor of California, you better get your act together because California, we're just not going to continue to pay the kind of money that we're paying because of fires that should never be to the extent. They were telling me in a couple of states, I won't even mention their name, it's like a flash. Some grass will burn. It'll be over in minutes. They'll lose 2 acres, 3 acres. At the most, they won't even lose that. And here we are with thousands of acres and billions of dollars every year. It's the same thing every year. And they don't want to clean up their forests because they have environment.
And that's why. That's why. Billions and billions of dollars every year. It happens every year, and they haven't figured out a way to curb this. Now, they know how to curb it. They don't want to. There's money in it. Is what it comes down to. There is money in it. It's plain and simple.
Environmental problems and cleaning it up. It should be the opposite because you're going to lose your forests. You're losing them. But it's costing our country hundreds of billions of dollars because of incompetence in California. So the people, I'm speaking now for the people of California, they don't want to see this happen. They're getting destroyed. And it's hurting our budgets, it's hurting our country, and they just better get their act together. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The state of California, your administration just entered into a first of its type commitment over the next 20 years to double our vegetation management and forest management. Right. I want to thank you for supporting that effort, funding that effort. We acknowledge our role and responsibility to do more in that space. The partnership was significant. It was first in California's history with the U.S. government, but we're going to need to do a lot more in the extent we can provide.
That's something I feel so strongly about. You can knock this down to nothing. You know, you go to Europe and different places in Europe, countries where they're forest countries, and they're very, very strong on management, and they don't have a problem. They really don't have, with, as they say, more explosive trees than we have in California. So thank you very much for your comments. But we're working on that very hard.
To see specifically done on the issue of forest management, and is it possible that it's also forest management and climate change? It's both things
Well,
at
I
the
think
same time.
something's possible. I think a lot of things are possible. But with regard to the forests, when trees fall down after a short period of time, about 18 months, they become very dry. They become really like a matchstick. And they get up, you know, there's no more water pouring through. And they become very, very, they just explode. They can explode. Also, leaves. When you have years of leaves, dried leaves on the ground, it just sets it up. It's really a fuel for a fire. So they have to do something about it. They also have to do cuts. I mean, people don't like to do cuts, but they have to do cuts in between. So if you do have a fire and it gets away, you'll have a 50-yard cut in between, so it won't be able to catch to the other side. They don't do that. If you go to other countries, you go to Austria, you go to Finland, you go to many different countries, and they don't have fire. I was talking to a head of a major country, and he said, we're a forest nation. We consider ourselves a forest nation. This was in Europe. I said, that's a beautiful term. He said, we have trees that are far more explosive He meant explosive in terms of fire. But we have trees that are far more explosive than they have in California, and we don't have any problem because we manage our forests. So we have to do that in California too.
Simple. They manage their forest. They not managing the forest. You say I sound muffled? Do I sound muffled to y'all? My mic volume need to go up a little bit, down a little bit. I don't know. All I know is this. Everything he said is true. Every single thing he said is true. And it ultimately comes down to mismanagement. And the question ain't, why is this happening? We know why it's happening, mismanagement. The question is, how are we allowing it to happen? How are they continuing to allow it to happen? You say, yeah, a little bit muffled. Hold on. Let me fix it. Let me see. How's that? Is that better? I hope so. I don't know, guys. All I know is that this is horrible and it shouldn't be allowed to happen. Let me see. This guy right here explains something really well.
This amount of warming,
Here we go.
not had these fires. And the reason we know that is because the forests that were well managed have survived the megafires. In fact, you have these forests, these well-managed forests, you can see them on a map, that survived the megafires, and megafires burning all around them. These high-intensity fires will go from the badly managed forests with all the wood fuel into the well-managed forests, and then the fire drops into a low-intensity fire. It's a really cool process. It still tends to be a little bit hotter than a normal prescribed fire, but it burns through like a healthy fire would burn. So we know that, this is my objection to this apocalyptic climate rhetoric, we know that a well-managed forest will survive climate change. And they go, well, we're not saying climate change is the only cause of the fires. Obviously, this massive accumulation of wood fuel is a big problem, but they're saying it's a sort of an equivalent factor, but that's just not accurate. You would very much have these high-intensity fires that are burning in California if there were no global warming at all. And you could not have the fires even with global warmings. And I think that's important because I think there's a sense in which if you think the only way to stop the fires is by reducing climate change, then you are basically saying you're not going to be able to stop the fires. And that's disempowering and wrong, and we need to solve these problems. But nonetheless, nobody likes all the smoke, and we shouldn't have to have it. It's just because of the fundamental reason is bad forest management.
That dude is a climate person. You know, he's one of the save the environment people telling you that this ain't got nothing to do with climate change. And then even that, what he said was true. If you're saying that this is because of climate change and you're never going to be able to fix it, this is not just due to climate change. It's literally mismanagement because you want to save a fish. That's the excuse that y'all give. This is what you tell the people of California. Hey, look, you guys can only use what is it, 32 gallons of water, 38 gallons of water, something like that, somewhere around there. Y'all can only because we got to save the fish. That's really what it comes down. We got to save this little fish that nobody don't eat. No one eats this fish. We got to save it though because it's bait. What? Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? Hey guys, sorry, we can't give. It's like we can't give you water. Everybody got to use only 30 gallons of water. You live in the Midwest and you got a freshwater lake, right? And you say, hey, you can't use but 32 gallons of water because we got to save that little sucker fish, that the invasive species of fish from the water. We got to save it. So you can't use the water. No, I don't understand how people just sit over there and accept that. I mean, I do. I mean, we all kind of do. We accept things from our government, man. It's just not right. But overall, it's just a sad situation to see when you know that they can literally have the water and manage the forest and everything be okay. Like forest fires will still happen, but it wouldn't be to the extreme that it's been. It's hotter than a volcano over there right now. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but I'm assuming. I've seen pictures. It looked crazy, right? And all because they want to save a fish. Like, you don't want to let these people get water or even have a a stable place to live, really. I mean, you in California, I don't understand why anybody would want to live there. Knowing the management that goes on there, every single year there's forest fires, and you decide that you want to go and live there. And I'm sure people lose their homes and then have to rebuild them, but then, like, why even rebuild it there? If you know that governor and the people that, you know, create the policies over there aren't going to let you have water. You pay all this money. Can you imagine paying millions of dollars for a house, or close to $1 million for a house, and they tell you you can't have water, 30-something gallons, because of a fish? It don't make sense, you guys. And it's disgusting. There's people displaced. This dude lost his pet in the house, which is very sad. You know, he didn't care about the house. He's like, man, it's not that. It's just like, yo, you know, killed my dog. And I'm just sitting here like, because of a fish. This dude lost his house and his dog and all his belongings. All these different people losing all their belongings. They losing everything that they own because of fish. A little fish. It's not that I don't care about the environment. It's not that at all. I care about the environment. But I care more about human lives than I do about a little fish. That's all. That's all I'm saying. It's not right. It's not right. And anybody in California, y'all should be very upset, man. Very upset at the leadership you got there. So James Woods, man, I don't know if you guys seen this clip. I'm gonna play it. Hope I don't get flagged for it. I feel like it's worth hearing. This man, he's something else, man. Let's hear what he got to say.
Laura, with all due respect, if it is true that things were handled this way, if it is true that Gavin Newsom is the absolute blithering idiot that I believe he is in the way he has handled fire management in this state again and again and again and again, this isn't a wake-up call. This is the kind of thing they have tribunals for, where they try people and say, you had an oath of office to perform certain duties. When you're the fire chief, this isn't a social justice exercise that you're in charge of. This is you getting water to areas that need water because there are fires in 100-mile-an-hour winds burning houses to the ground. I watched on a Ring camera a guy have to sit and watch his pet burn to death. You know, those things are issues of the heart when you watch a cherished little pet. Or, you know, look, my home is a building. It was we worked 3 years putting the home together. We loved our little house, but it means nothing compared to the 5 people who lost their lives.
James,
so the wake-up call.
Yeah, I hear you. And again, we're going to learn a lot more about this.
That's sad, man. That is sad. Not just the fact that a guy lost his home and his pet, but the fact that you have a governor. I mean, I just recall all these times when the dude from China, Xi Jinping, when he came out, he hurried up and cleaned up places that been looking disgusting since he been governor. But you clean up for this dude to come in. I'm sure that all the rich people got water. They can afford some water. I'm sure they got some water. What about the regular class American, the people like us? What about them? You know, what about people that maybe can't afford insurance on their house, that lost everything? Maybe they didn't have insurance on their car. Maybe they lost that. Maybe they lost their family. Like, people are passing away because of these fires. And you worrying about a fish. It's like the laws over there are so crazy, like the policies. The policies are just so weird to me. And it's like that and not to pick on the left, you know, but you don't see these kind of things happening anywhere other than like a crazy liberal, wacky ran, you know, spot where you value a fish more than your own countrymen. You will allow the state that you are sworn to protect and you represent, you took an oath of office, and you're allowing people to literally lose it all for a fish. Dog, come on. Come on. It don't make sense. I can't wait for Trump to take office. I really hope that some of these things get, cleared up. And I really, really, really sincerely am praying for y'all in California, man. I'm so sorry that y'all got a governor like that, because this is preventable. People like to point to like end time prophecy and think that this is God. No, this is literally just poor management of California. That's literally all it is. It's simple. Get water, take care of your forest. Take care of your forest. Literally, that's literally it. Create a canal, make it run through, irrigate, dampen up the soil, and get rid of dead trees. And I'm pretty sure fires won't get out of control. I'm almost like 100% on that. I can almost guarantee it, just because Google, it's a simple search. Like, there's other places that do this. This is how they curb, wildfires. That's all you got to do. So my heart goes out to you guys in Cali, man. I feel for you. Man, for a fish? How many animals are dying in this wildfire? I wonder why they care about the environment and they care about the fish. What about all the little things that just probably died in the fire? What about birds that couldn't get out their nest? Like little birds. And what about, I don't know. You got me thinking all kind of crazy stuff now about the environment. What about all the things that died because of this fire? And you're worried about a fish? A fish? Like, yo, I'm sorry. It literally blew my mind watching this and hearing everybody talking about this fish. It's insane. Something ain't right in Cali. That being said, everybody keep California in your prayers. All the people out there in California, we praying for you. Hearts are with you. That's all I got. God bless. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.